Hey, everybody, welcome to the show. I'm Mike,
I'm B.
and we're your average characters.
All
Um,
right. Let's do this.
so we left last episode, and I actually want to talk a little bit more about this.
Hmm.
You talked about, we talked about Republicans appropriating Jesus, for their own
Hmm.
sinister ways. I mean, they are not, they are
Not even close.
corporations, for sure, and
Not
all.
even close.
Uh,
Zero.
Yeah.
0%.
But you taking, setting religion aside, the and you've mentioned this all. We kind of mentioned this also in the last episode,
Right.
where human nature
Mm.
is like their nature is
Mhm.
harming people.
Right.
Is not only do they find, that it's okay to do that, like effectively, with this, what they tried to do with the federal grant money, harmed, millions of people.
Right.
Um, and it's like in their minds, that was perfectly fine
Hmm.
because somehow
Yeah.
these people,
Yeah.
because of where they came from, who
Hmm.
they are, what they look like,
Hmm.
deserve, to be annihilated effectively.
Right. Right. Correct. Yeah. I mean, like, this is what they believe, though. I mean, this is not surprising. I mean, at least the politicians do. There are people within the subset of Republican people who got supremely brainwashed, but I think most of them are TFGs. They're too far gone, you know? They
Yeah.
they've been brainwashed to an extent. I don't think you can they're irreversible, you know?
And this is something that I really worry about because if these people ever sober up, so to speak, if
Right.
the, Trumpians, ever,
Hmm.
realize that they are being exploited, that their, Lord and master is not going to deliver for them,
Their golden calf.
then yeah, their golden calf,
Hmm.
potentially they could be, strong allies if they developed a sense of class consciousness and realize that, you know, they're being economically exploited.
Disenfranchised.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which is what we on the left have been trying to
Hmm.
tell, anyone that's not a billionaire,
Right.
you are being exploited by the
Yes.
system.
Correct.
So they
Correct.
could
Correct.
potentially be allies, but there's
It's
so much
possible.
hate
Hmm.
in their hearts. And like, how do you get them to set that aside? Because some of them, maybe like, well, yeah, I will, be willing to fight the power on an economic, level,
Hmm.
but there's no way I'm going to stand and, march alongside with black people or Hispanic people or,
Right. Right.
LGBTQ people. It's like, they're like, I hate those people, so
Hmm.
much, almost like I don't care
Right.
what harm Trump is doing.
As
I
long as
want
he's
to
harming
preserve
those
my
people.
hate.
Yeah, as long as it's harming those people in some way,
Right.
shape, or form. It's that is tough, dude. That is probably I don't know if you can reach those people. Like when you have in your heart some type of bigotry, it's really hard to remove that from
Yeah.
who you are as a person, you know? I mean, I wish it was easier to change that, but I mean, you got to be honest. I mean, call it as it is. It's hard, dude. It's
If there
hard.
is any historical precedent for this, it
Hmm.
might be the election of what was it, 32?
Okay.
When did FDR get elected?
I think it
Because
was 32 because
at
after
that
the Great
point,
Depression.
the Great Depression had started,
Hmm.
and he was like he trounced Herbert Hoover.
Yeah.
It wasn't
Yep.
even
Yep.
close.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
at that point, the
Hmm.
people did develop a sense of class consciousness at that point
Right.
because they were all fucked. I mean, they were all you had people
Yeah.
that were,
Yeah.
had, good paying jobs, then having to go, and beg, for
Hmm.
food.
You
Um,
know, like you were saying, that class consciousness, I think it only comes in when it's like survival gear.
yeah,
Until survival gear kicks in, it doesn't come through. That is a great point what you stated because I'm kind of seeing that happening now. We're going through the same mistakes of the late 1920s and early 1930s because we are, whether you want to say it or not, we are going to have a Great Depression. Or if we're lucky, just a Great Recession. That's if we're lucky. But yeah, like pretty much similar to what happened in 1920s, like 1929, like in the beginning of 1929, it was like, oh my goodness, people were making money hand over fist. Everything was great. And then at the end of 1929, that's when everything went down. We're going through that right now this year.
Yeah.
So you're going to see stock market probably it may hit like maybe like 48, 50,000 for Dow by the end of this year or toward the end of this year. And then after that, you're going to see a super decline. Because if you look at it, a lot of I think you're already seeing the tech bubble is kind of, I don't know, they're thinking AI is stronger than it is. You
Yeah.
know, I think that that one is a miscalculation. So if in my opinion, this is just based on what I'm seeing, not financial advice or nothing like that, but just based on the trends I'm seeing. Uh, right now, I think is a great time to maybe sell sometime or like toward the middle of this year, because I think the downturn is going to happen toward the end of this year for sure.
Well, it's interesting you mentioned AI because several financial experts have been using the term bubble to describe
Yes,
it. And,
yes,
we're both in the tech industry, so, we've both
right,
worked with AI, to some extent.
right,
And, we're hearing, stuff now about DeepSeek.
right, right.
Yeah.
Like they're expecting AI to actually do programming for you, which I don't know if it can do that.
So it when I've used AI for help with programming or other things,
Mhm.
it like
Right.
it can potentially lead you in the right direction. But
Hmm.
if you don't review it and don't like scrutinize it, you were potentially setting yourself up for disaster.
Exactly. Correct.
The idea that, some tech bros like, Elon Musk, are thinking like, or, like, oh, AI is going to replace everybody,
I
with
don't
jobs.
see that.
If like, do you really want AI making medical decisions?
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, do you
That's
really want to take the human element out of that altogether? I mean, do you really want,
yeah. Yeah.
AI, um, oh,
To do your surgery?
yeah, yeah, to do your surgery? Do you want AI controlling planes?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
I
That's
mean, do you
oh
really
my
trust it
God.
that much?
Yeah, I mean, I think the human element is still necessary, in my opinion. I mean, even the driverless cars, I know some people love it, whatever, they want it. I just don't see that being viable even for the future because what happens if there's an accident? Who's liable?
Well, there's something even worse, and they've already shown this. Those self-driving cars can be hacked into.
See?
Now
There you
imagine
go.
this. Imagine somebody wants to assassinate somebody else.
Mhm. Hmm.
So they hack into a self-driving car. That
Hmm.
car has an accident killing the person inside of it, and it looks like an accident, not an
Right.
assassination attempt.
Correct.
I mean,
Correct.
that's why it's like, how much power do you want to give AI? Like, you want to put it
That's
on
too much.
planes? You want to have people, hack in, crash planes?
It's kind of like in the Terminator movies kind of warned us of this. Skynet. We don't want them to get so smart that they're like, oh, humans are bad.
Well, yeah, I mean, and honestly, like, this is something I've, kind of joked about with
Right.
weapons like smart
Hmm.
bombs and, those type of
Hmm.
things. It's like,
Right.
if we make them any smarter, maybe they'll have
Yeah.
second thoughts about war to begin with.
True. True. That would be great. That would
Yeah.
be great. It'd be amazing if there was some way that we can kind of show people, hey, if you're going to have this war, this is your result
Yeah.
of what you're going to do. And then maybe that will, I don't know if have you ever watched that movie Twilight?
No.
It's the vampire movie.
Yeah,
Anything like
I've
that?
not. I'm familiar with it. Haven't seen it.
Okay. They had something like that where like one of the vampires has the power to tell another vampire, this is the future that will happen if you go in this direction.
Hmm. So like
I would,
Oh God, Benedict Cumberbatch's character in the Marvel universe, the Time Lord guy. I'm
Yeah,
blanking
yeah,
his name.
but in this one, it's
Doctor
like,
Strange. Yeah.
yeah, Doctor Strange. Yeah, but in this one, it's one of the other vampires. She's got that power.
Hmm.
So when she has that power, I kind of wish that we could utilize AI to kind of show, hey, if you're gonna go in this direction, this is what's gonna happen. Have it formulate, and that's one thing that could help out when it comes to, saying, hey, risk assessment, what's the right avenue to go to? If AI can somehow do that, that's a valid use of AI, in my opinion, because
Well,
it does it based on whatever's available.
well, then you wind up with a paradox potentially, though.
Uh,
If AI can
yeah.
predict the future, but
Well,
you know
it's
what that
based on an
prediction
action
is.
though. But it's
Sorry,
based
what?
on an action. But it's based on one action though.
Right. So you know that you then change something to potentially change the outcome.
Right, right. That's true. But I mean, at least it can help out with risk assessment of what you're going to do. That kind of thing is more accessible. I just don't think you should use AI to do some of the human functions in
Yeah.
society. That just doesn't make sense to me because I don't think it's that smart yet, you know? And I think it's going to take a long time.
Well, it's based on, I mean, it's only as smart as the training material that it's fed.
Yeah, the source code.
Yeah.
Coming from a coder's perspective, I don't think AI is at the point yet of being able to take any human jobs yet. Like, especially not coding and things like that.
Yeah.
It might take like maybe 30 years from now. Yes, it's possible.
One thing I remember couple months ago, Michelle and I needed to call a plumber. Michelle is my wife.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
they had an automated AI answering system to, just gather information about, okay, what's the problem, all that. And it sounded close to
Like
a
a
real
real
person.
person. Yeah.
But in the end, after we gave them all that information, they said, we will call you right back. And then we talked to a human.
Yeah. See, at the end of the day. And you know what? Some of those things that they have, I'm like, please I just want to talk to a human so bad.
Yeah.
Because when you talk to an actual human, especially on customer service, you get your thing taken care of right then and there. So I just don't think AI can do the same thing. I just don't feel it. Not yet. Not yet. I mean, until it can actually do it as perfectly as what I'm assuming, I just don't see it happening.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we're a ways off. And I think going back, that's why I think there's
Right.
concern that legitimate concern that there may be a bubble about it
Right.
first. And the reason I
Right.
cited DeepSeek is because
Mhm.
supposedly they were able to do everything that OpenAI does, ChatGPT does, but for a fraction of
Right.
the cost and without using NVIDIA. And then NVIDIA's stock tanked.
Right. Right.
So, I mean,
Ugh.
and I find it funny. Like
Mhm.
OpenAI was
Uh-huh.
accusing DeepSeek of like stealing their models, stealing their stuff, and it's like, dude, your entire model is based on stolen content that you
That's
scraped
true.
from the web. It's
That's
like you're
true.
getting mad. It's like, how dare you steal what we rightfully stole first?
I know, right? That makes no sense. How can you do that? You know?
Yeah.
Oh my God. It's insane. So, but I mean, my personal opinion, I think AI is just not ready yet, dude. I just don't think it's ready to take over human jobs. I just really don't see it.
Yeah,
Not yet.
I would agree with you as well. I mean, the question is,
Yeah.
will it ever have that ability? I mean, will we ever get to
Mhm.
the singularity that,
Mhm.
some people, are perhaps rightly afraid of?
Right,
Like
right,
you said,
right.
would computers ever get so smart that they would then say, "Oh, we don't need humans anymore"?
Well, and the reason why their justification for not needing humans is because of the fact that we always fight with each other.
Yeah, I mean,
They
look where we
consider
are
that
now.
unproductive. They consider that unproductive, you know?
Yeah,
So that's why they're like, hey, instead of us working to make things better for everybody, why are we still fighting? That's what they'll ask, you
yeah,
know? So, and the fact that our history is not that great. I mean, we used nuclear bombs, we did a lot of horrible things, so many atrocities and stuff like that. So we don't have a great track record as humans, let's be
no,
honest.
we don't.
Yeah,
And
we really don't.
short of I mean, the way it's starting to look right now, short of, a climate
I mean,
catastrophe,
right.
we are going to blow ourselves up.
Yeah. And this is the part that always confuses me about conservatism and when it comes to the climate. They're thinking that, oh, us as people who care about the environment, oh, you're being selfish and stuff like that. You care about the environment. Actually, if you think about it, they're thinking that we're being selfish, which is correct. They're right about us being selfish, but it's us being selfish for the human race. Because like the planet will be fine even after we do our destruction because it will regenerate, but we will not.
Right. Yeah, I mean the
Yeah.
planet has already shown that
Mhm.
it can heal. We saw that
Yes.
during COVID. And by the way, that's
Yep.
another thing that Trump is trying to get rid of, like any sort of mention of environmental justice.
Yeah, which is insane.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't realize the environment that we care about is for us to be sustainable to live in. That's what we care about because we want to still have food to eat and we want to have, like a future basically, We want to be able to have good air to breathe, good water to drink, good food to eat. I mean, that's basically what we want. And as you mess up the environment more and more, it's not bad for the environment, it's bad for us to live in the environment because it doesn't sustain us.
Right.
So,
And that just
so
also goes with the regulations that Trump is
right,
trying to repeal, like
right.
as if
I
the
mean,
food supply isn't
yeah,
poison enough as it is, then,
right.
allow, people's like, oh, I'd like to have some candy. Oh, I'm dead.
Yeah, there you go. Oh my
All
goodness.
because, they were allowed to put arsenic in it,
Yeah.
for goodness.
Yeah. Like when you remove those regulations, of course, that's what's going to happen to you.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, let's just put it this way. Bad times are coming.
Yeah. I mean, anybody that,
So,
values, clean food, clean water,
mhm.
likes to be able to, drive on roads that are, paved
Normal.
correctly.
Yes. And you like to make sure that planes don't crash into each other or helicopters and planes can't crash into
Yeah.
each other. Yeah, I think you're going to be you need to be a
And
progressive.
there you go, right there. It's the DEI.
Hmm.
It's that DEI that caused
Yeah.
that plane crash. I mean, that was the first thing.
Yeesh.
Like, well, let me think here. I need to think of like three letters here that caused the problem, and those are DEI. Yes.
And you know what? Even though they explained what it is, I bet you if you ask him right now, what does DEI stand for? He would not be able to tell you. He would not. Even now, I don't think he'd be able to tell you.
Well, Trump is actually a DEI himself. He
Technically,
does
yes.
he DEI does he does everything ineptly.
Yes. He's
That's
DEI.
what Trump does. That's what Trump is.
Yeah. Yeah. If you look up DEI, his name would be up there going like doing his little weird what do you call it? A jerking off to giraffe stance.
Oh, oh my God.
You know I had to do that. That's what it looks like though.
I think the background kind of the blurred background you have there kind of phased kind of blurred it out. So I think we're okay.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but yes, Trump does everything ineptly. And it's
Yes,
all
yes,
his fault. Like
100%.
literally, this thing, the plane crash is Trump's
Yeah.
fault. He
Yeah,
like fired,
100%.
he fired people that
Yes.
were, involved in the safety of that. He fired the TSA person.
Yeah.
He fired
Yep. He did.
some. I forget who he fired. He fired people that could have potentially prevented
Prevented
it from
this.
happening. Yeah.
So are they gonna is there any chance that these people, these poor people who got funding taken out, are they gonna get it back or anything?
So at this point, this is what I've heard.
Hmm.
That federal grant ban or freeze is done with. The people are going to get their money or whatever they were signed up for. That all that's coming back, and Trump is not going to fight this in court. They've rescinded the executive order. which
Okay,
again,
thank
I'm a little
God.
surprised about. But I don't know. I mean, they're setting themselves up for a showdown with the Supreme Court, but I guess they
Mm,
didn't want to die on this particular hill
okay.
because, like we said, in last episode, Congress controls the purse. They have
Hmm.
the purse strings, so the president cannot just say, "Oh, I don't want to spend money on that."
Right. You
So,
know
but
that that
and I guess
yeah.
like, they must have calculated somehow that the Supreme
Mhm.
Court wouldn't agree with them.
Right. I
Or
mean,
Or Trump threw a temper tantrum and said, "I want to freeze the funds. I want to freeze the funds."
yeah.
They're like, "We
Well, I
can't
mean,
win this one,
he's
Mr. President."
he, he's basically doing the conservatism wet dream. So I mean, he's doing what they want. So it's not like I'm sorry. I apologize. I
Um,
so I mean, he likes this. So I mean, this is what it is. It is what it is, you know? There's nothing we can do. I mean, like people just need to realize Republican, evil. Democrat, tolerable. They're just a little weak.
yeah.
Remember, bottom line, Republicans have no principles. Democrats have no spine, but Democrats, you can have a spine if you unleash your internal left. All right? It's time for you to be unleashed.
This could probably be an entire episode, but I've talked to some people who have suggested that now is the time for a third party to emerge.
I mean, dude, it's up to the Dems, but I mean, if that's what we need to do, because I would rather lose voting for people that I believed in than just voting for a lesser of two evils.
Yeah, and Matt, the problem with our electoral system is mathematics.
Yeah, that's the problem.
We have our first past the post election
Yes.
system where, whoever gets the most votes, wins.
Hmm.
But it doesn't necessarily mean that the best candidate, is going to
Hmm.
win. I mean, somebody could win, in a five-way race, somebody could win with, 25% of the vote. For
Right.
example. It makes third parties, into spoilers.
Yeah.
Um, and one thing that really upset me was ranked choice voting failed here
Right.
in Nevada, and yeah, maybe we'll do a whole episode on that with voting methods and
You
all,
know,
because
here's the thing. I would prefer ranked choice voting. I would have liked it in the general here in Nevada, or just overall ranked choice voting is the right thing, in my
yeah,
opinion, no matter what it is, because then you get the actual person that everybody voted for.
right.
You
And
know, even if they're their second or third, whatever. But at least you'll have, the person that they're most tolerable of, you know?
right.
So, but I mean, right now, considering our current system, I mean, we need to somehow reform the Democratic Party so that they can finally have teeth again and actually fight for their principles,
And
you
that's
know?
what some people are arguing with, creating a leftist third party, and that is
Yeah.
basically saying like the Democratic brand is going to is a death's door. So why
Mm.
not, try to start a new party and take the resources away from the current Democratic Party to start a genuine progressive party.
I mean,
People move.
I like the idea. The only problem is that the hardcore Trumpist people, they're like around 30 to 35%. I don't know if you can beat that unless you have a party that can get up to like 51, 52, and I don't see that being possible.
Well, the other problem is, and this is partly how ranked choice voting was defeated. Both the Democrats and the Republicans used their coffers, their
Right,
money to,
right,
spread misinformation about ranked choice
right.
voting and killed
Killed the
the
bill.
ballot measure. So you also have, who's got the money,
Right,
basically.
right.
And I remember when I ran for Congress, one of the first, questions that was, asked of me by a former elected official was, where are
Mm,
you going to get the money? And at the
right,
time, I didn't fully understand, how much of a factor that was in effectively voter suppression, you know,
right, right, right.
silencing
It's
voices that
mhm.
would otherwise be beneficial to the people as a whole.
Yeah. I mean, I would love it if we could do like ranked choice. If we did ranked choice voting, I'd be like, dude, vote for whoever you believe in. It's all good. Don't be
Yeah.
strategic. You know, because you can actually rank it whatever you want. But without ranked choice voting, I'm gonna be like, you got to be strategic on your actual vote because you got to vote for the person that's. I mean, there's going to be two top of the tickets regardless who are going to get most of the votes. You have to be very strategic on which one will actually be better or more tolerable for you
Yeah.
overall.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's rough life, man. Rough life that we got here in the States. Yeah, I mean, but do you
But
think things will get better
not
after this
anytime, not
acceleration is
anytime
in?
soon. I don't know how
Yeah.
bad things are going to get, but I've said before, like something's got to give. I don't know
Mm,
what. Fascism is not sustainable. It has
yeah.
been, tried throughout history. Eventually
And
it
it failed.
falls. Now, you can say the same thing about democracy, by the way. I
Mm,
mean, it was John
mm.
Adams who said, democracy doesn't last long. It wastes, wanes, and murders itself.
Right,
In
right.
fact, he said, at the time, there had not been a democracy that didn't commit suicide. Uh,
Hmm.
and perhaps we have reached, that point. But
Hmm.
also, this whole thing with, wealth being consolidated, extreme wealth being consolidated, people being, taken from their homes, families being
Yeah.
split up, um, hyperinflation, like all of this is not sustainable.
Mm,
And eventually, I do think there's going to be some sort of response. I
mm.
don't know what that response is going to look like, but
Right.
this is certainly not sustainable. There's already some cracks that are showing,
Mm.
with regards to,
True.
Trumpers posting on TikTok, how unhappy they are. And,
Mm.
Elon Musk not getting his office by the Oval Office. Um, so I don't know what it's going to look like, but I think there is a chance that there is going to be a response of some sort, that it's going to be very powerful.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll be in the streets.
Right.
But yeah, it's really hard to say at this point. This shock and
Hmm.
awe executive order stuff, he's been doing is
Hmm.
really scary. But
Hmm.
I do believe that something has got to give because
Right.
it's not
I hope you're
sustainable.
right. I hope you're right. But I think we're going on that accelerationist path that I think we were talking about before. You
Yeah,
know, I think we're definitely going down that path. I'm hoping out of this rubble a phoenix will rise. Let's hope and pray.
yeah.
You
Agreed.
know? So,
Agreed.
yeah. Yeah. So,
So we are at the warning mark again.
oh, wow.
Yeah.
Man,
It's
time
always great. It's
flies.
always great. It's always great talking with you because I lose
Oh,
track
yeah.
of time, but Zoom doesn't.
Yeah. Thank
So,
you, Zoom, for at least keeping us on track. But
all
it's
right.
amazing talking with you, Mike. I learn a lot as well. It's very, very nice.
Likewise. Likewise.
Yeah,
So,
very cool.
let's see. I ended the last one, so I think it's your turn to end this one.
Okay. Okay. So just for everybody to know, it's going to be rough. It's gonna try your patience and stuff like that. Try to do some home care. Try to take care of yourself. All right. Remember, get your sleep. Try to make sure you don't get sick, that kind of thing. If you can, take some flu shot, whatever is available, just so that it's gonna be a rough year. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. It's gonna be a rough year. So just know that we're here to help you to get through it, and we're hoping that we can provide you some humor or something to make life a little bit more tolerable. And we hope to provide more insightful advice and just more uh, just more calming influence during this trying time. So I just want everybody to know one thing. Remember, we have Jesus on our side because he would have been one of us as progressives anyway. Caring about your neighbor, caring about others uh, is not a weakness, it's a strength. So always be good to everyone around you and your family and friends. All right? Take care.
That was beautiful. But you forgot
Thank you.
one thing.
What was that?
You forgot to tell them to like and
Oh,
subscribe.
please like and subscribe. I totally forgot that. Oh my God. See, this is why I love having Mike here.
It's
You're
all good.
awesome.
We're still new at this, but
Yes.
yes,
Yes.
please like and
Yes.
subscribe.
Yes.
Um,
Yes. Yes.
thank you.
Yes.
Thank you
Yes.
for
And God
watching.
bless everybody. All right. God bless you. All right.
All right.
Thank you
Thank
for
you for
watching.
watching and or listening, and we'll see you next
Yes.
time.
See you next time. All right. Thank you.